Hello and welcome to Fit With Us podcast number 43. We hope, we're sure it is. Kyle, how are we?
Said that with a lot of certainty, mate. Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, mate. I'm doing well. I think we can safely say that summer is now over, eh?
Summer is gone, mate. Summer is long gone.
I
That's
mean, in saying that, man, I don't know if you are having this freak hot weather this week, but Glasgow has been absolutely roasting this week.
Yeah, it's been weird. It's been about 20 degrees, but the problem with that is the fact it's going to take a massive drop, isn't it? It's going to go down from like 20 to about
Aye.
6 degrees, and you're just all of a sudden going to feel your tits getting really spiky.
I know, man. It's staying darker for a wee bit longer in the mornings now. It's a wee bit dark when I'm getting out of bed, and it's dark when I'm finishing in the gym at night. So, aye, summer's been and gone, mate. What a fucking honking summer we had this year.
We're about to talk about fitness myths part three, but I think summer was a myth this year. It just didn't.
Summer was a myth. Summer was non-fucking existent this year.
It's one of those ones you kind of waited, going, oh, it's going to come. It's all right. It's just been a bad April, May. Just be a bad June. It'll come in July. It fucking did not come.
And
No.
you would get teased by having like 2 days back to back of amazing weather, and you're like, oh, it's arrived, and then boom, rain.
I was actually saying that as much like I don't know what it was like in Glasgow, but in Ireland we actually didn't get two back-to-back days of sun until late July. I mean, you're talking all of summer was 1 day on, 4 days off, 1 day on, 7 days off. Like it's like an
Aye.
unemployed teenager just in the
It,
house.
it was pretty rough, man. And do you know what? Like, no wonder people are fucking miserable because it's so hard to get yourself motivated and to get yourself up and out when it's just dreary and grey and raining all the time. And it's not even that that rainy weather where you can stay in and you can snuggle all nice and warm because it's still hot. So it's that kind of muggy. And it just zaps the energy and the life right out of you. So yeah, the gym's been pretty quiet over the last couple of months. Just people trying to go and chase some sun. People just motivation, just fucking hitting rock bottom because it is so miserable and dreary. Have you found that kind of your clients and stuff have been hard to maybe get motivated over the last few months?
I'd say, yeah, mate, there has been a big trend in like lack of drive for a lot of it. It's not even lack of drive. I think that like a lot of my guys still have overarching goals and it helps, but I think a lot of the time it is harder to do because it's like it does have a massive impact on your mental health.
Mm.
I was saying this to Jen actually about a month or two ago. I'm like, we've essentially had not just this summer, last summer was abysmal as well. We're talking by the time next summer comes, it'll be 2 full years going on three before we've had, and hopefully it does come out next year, but like we've had 2 full years without actually having any form of summer. The
Yeah.
difference it would make on your mental health if we had a year, imagine instead of having a shite winter, we just had sun all the time for 365 days a year. That doesn't ever happen in the opposite, does it? But the difference that would make, but we don't get that, which is, it does have an impact, and you do notice like gyms to a large extent, they are quieter, full of fucking kids. Like, I don't know what happened to kids going to a park and just drinking. Like, they're on the gym at the moment, which, to be fair, I suppose is a good thing, but it's annoying because they congregate in groups. Don't know if that's just where we are.
It's so they cannot ego lift and take a video for their TikTok and their Instagram.
I mean, I don't even know what they're actually doing because like they're all just doing one rep maxing all the time. It's like just one rep maxing all the time, and it's terrible one rep maxes. Like it's a slight bit of elbow bend in a bench press and going, oh yes, hit 60 kilos. I'm like, you didn't, mate.
It's just a wee knee bend and a squat.
Fucking a disaster. Well, actually, one of the positives about them all being like kids and not being able to lift is the fact that like you don't actually see them doing too many complicated exercises like squats or deadlifts. So it does mean that's actually one of the reasons why I started squatting and deadlifting again because it's the only fucking bit of equipment I can get on.
How are you finding it? You enjoying it again?
Don't know, mate. It's one of those things I had to come away from it for years because I was so emotionally attached to certain numbers. Like because I was training just powerlifting, powerlifting, powerlifting. And then once I took a step back away from it, I'm like, every time I go back to deadlift again or like squat again, I'm like, oh, could I just go and do another wee competition? Might just, you know what? I'm only this far away from it, and then I'll start trying to chase numbers. So it's a dangerous game for me. I do enjoy it when I do it frequently, but Don't know. I'm about 2 stone lighter than what I was in my prime heyday for
Yeah.
powerlifting. I don't have any ambition of getting that chunky again. So I
Aye,
enjoy it,
that's
but
fair.
it's not the same purpose. So you have to go into something known. So almost I'd imagine what somebody who played professional sport, like if you're a footballer, like you now need to go into every game realizing that you're no longer playing professional. You're just there for a kick.
Aye.
It's like it's a very different experience. Like
Aye, 100%. I totally get it, man. I've been messing about with squats and deadlifts again because before obviously I moved into the house, I got that double body weight deadlift and I was absolutely buzzing. And then I literally just stopped. You know, the house move took over, work got really stressful and something had to give and that something was training. So now I'm starting to get back into it. But I was squatting yesterday and my knees are just no playing ball at the minute. It's not because I'm getting old, although that could probably have something to do with it, but it's just to see the hypermobility, like not being able to lock my knees out, and being on my feet for so many hours of the day can really, really niggle at the tendons in the back of my knee
yeah,
and it just become really, really sensitive. And um, right now it's my left one. It'll chop and change what knee hurts, but right now it's my left one, and I could just feel it. And I'm like, I can't do any more without risking injury, just unnecessary injury. So I had to just give it up, man. But I'm going to try and deadlift today and see how that goes because obviously, um. It's a bigger hinge. I should be okay to do that, but the squatting was just far too much for me.
I think that's probably I hate when this gets said, listen to your body. But I actually do think in this occasion, listening to your body is probably the thing to do.
100%.
Are you still using knee sleeves?
I no,
I know. I know.
no, no. I've got them. Obviously, I've got them handy. I just thought because I'm getting back into it, I'm not lifting heavy. I'm going to build it up. I thought I'd be fine.
Yeah, yeah.
But do you know the last couple of weeks, I've got those. You seen the Vivo barefoot shoes?
Yeah, yeah.
Right, so I got a pair of them about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they are absolutely amazing. I've got really wide. Rachel says I've got hobbit feet, really wide feet, and I needed shoes that I could wear comfortably all day, and my toes weren't screaming at me. So these are great. So I actually started training in them a couple of weeks back, and my knees felt fine. And then I put my lifters on yesterday, and I'm not sure if just lifting my heel slightly is maybe put more strain through the back of my knee. I don't know. It's the only thing I've done differently for the last kind of 3 weeks. The only thing I've done differently.
I would say if they're lifting your heel, that it more likely you get more knee flexion. So if anything, it's probably going through more the front of your knee rather than the back of your knee.
Rather than back.
But sure.
40 bits, mate. 40 bits. I don't know.
It's got to say, mate, just get a bit of fucking sellotape on it, you'll be fine.
100%. You better Gorilla Tape, man. Nothing Gorilla Tape can't fix. How's the wee fella? How's he settling in?
Mate, he's having the time of his life. Like I said, I had a conversation last night. Well, he'll remember it or not. I was like, you've got 12 years before you need to do a tough shift at work. 12 days.
12.
Sorry, 12 years of doing nothing. I was like, imagine that, just a wee self-imposed sabbatical for 12 years. I'd be buzzing every day, like just getting your meals handed to you. So yeah, mate, he's having a great time. He's actually waking up buzzing all the time, and he's waking up at a good hour. So it's good, but me and Jen were saying this. It's like even though he's sleeping through the night, I think just because mentally you're being that taxed throughout the day, and even just the little murmurs in the night and making sure he's okay, it's like it doesn't matter how much sleep we get anymore. We're just waking up shattered. Like I woke up yesterday and it said I had 6 hours and 50 minutes of sleep, which to be fair is great in terms of what I normally get these days. But I was like, I feel like I've had 3 hours sleep. I actually feel like I've been hit by a baseball bat. Got to 4 o'clock in the day. You ever get those days? I know working for yourself or working for several different people, you have a certain workload, and a lot of the time, like it just needs to be done in the day because otherwise it rolls into the next day. But I was like, I spoke to Jen in the morning. I was like, I could really just go back for a nap. And she's like, go for a nap. And I was like, but then I'm going to play in my head how much work I've got to do. And I'm like, I'm not going to sleep because it. And I was like, I might just do a wee bit of work first. And she's like, yeah, do that. Maybe do an hour and see how you go on. There I am 5 hours later, not had a lunch break, still working away, going, oh, I might just get a nap at some point. Like 7, 8 hours later, like still not even had a lunch break. I'm like, what are you doing to yourself? I got to 6 o'clock.
Aye.
Going, well, I'll go for a nap now. I'm going, it's practically bedtime. Like practically.
Aye. What would you tell your client to do if that was a client that was doing that exact same thing?
I mean, 100%. I know it. Like, I said this, I was having that internal battle myself in the morning time, going, if you were a client, I'd tell you to wind your neck in and go to bed. But I've also, in my head, I've tried to set some clear boundaries for the evening time so that Jen, I, and Finn can, like, again, chillax. So Jen yoga had, there's my words. Jen had yoga on Monday. Jen had yoga on Monday night. So I was looking after Finn. Apparently, it's not kosher to call it babysitting when it's your own child, but I was
Right.
looking after Finn on Monday night. On Tuesday, I play five-a-sides. So it's the only fives game that I play, so I just need to keep at it on Tuesdays. Jen had an appointment on Wednesday night, and there was a game of football I wanted to watch, so I had Finn then. But then I was like, we've not actually spent the night together. Like, I was going to say, since Finn's been conceived, but no, I was going to say we've not spent a night actually doing anything together. Thursday night, I was like, oh, we'll watch that. What's the fucking program called? The TV. Josh Hartnett's in it. M Night Shyamalan. It's
No idea, mate.
serial killer at a concert. Don't know. Anyway, so we watched that last night, but the plan was to watch it. I'm like, if I go for a nap, I've got so much work I'm going to have to do. I'm not going to be able to watch that. Rocky's going to need a walk. My night's gone. My day's gone.
Aye.
So I just got overwhelmed by it. And then here I am going, well, I'm glad I've done it all yesterday, but then the cycle repeats itself today.
Aye, exactly. It just continues. Like, even though you got all your work done yesterday, there's still a shit ton to do today.
Yeah.
And it's just, like you say, the cycle repeats itself and you're thinking, when the fuck is it going to end?
I, yeah, no, I was saying that I've kept Friday nights as a wee bit of it's in my diary as either downtime or if people sign up, like that's my place to put them in so that it's scheduled. But because we've been kind of pushing things a lot this month in September is essentially the 2nd January because people's kids are back to school and stuff. We've had a lot of people sign in. Now the sign-ups this week have been higher than even like the last couple of years. It just doesn't look, it's extremely high. So I'm like,
Mhm.
even the time I've put together on Friday night isn't enough time. So that's going to eat away
Aye.
at my Saturday. And now I'm feeling guilty about going, well, now we're going to have to work Saturday. I told myself I wasn't working Saturday. And here I am
Aye.
working Saturday.
Aye, aye. And then you find maybe Jen will go, you're not supposed to be working. I thought you had a cut-off time. That's what I've been getting the last kind of week or so. You're supposed to have a cut-off time. I'm sitting on a laptop after 9 at night and Rachel's wanting to watch Netflix. And I'm like, just put something on. And then she's going, but you're missing it. And I'm like, for fuck's sake.
I mean, I do get that. And to be fair, there is that debate. I'm like, Jen, it's different when I have my phone because it can be work related. Sometimes it's not.
Mm.
But, like, seeing the occasional wee bit of time that I get, like 8 o'clock at night, and I'm like, I might just do a wee bit of scrolling. Just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You should not maybe working. I'm like, I'm actually
Yeah.
not working. I'm just scrolling. But like,
Yeah. I got it last night. I was on Reddit for like 45 minutes last night and it was Rachel that was like, you've been on that for fucking ages. And I'm like, oh shit, so I have. I just completely went into this mad trance. And then I woke up this morning and I'm like, shit, I never got X done, I never got Y done, and I never got Z done last night. And it was because I was scrolling for 45 minutes on Reddit. But sometimes you just need to just shut off, switch off. And like I was saying to you, like, what would you tell your client to do in that same situation? And I've been dealing with clients like this the last few weeks where everything's getting on top of them. And I'm like, you need to take that, even just 10, 15 minutes for yourself, block it out in your diary, block it in your schedule, take it for yourself, do something that distracts you for everything that you've got to do. Just unwind, forget about it, and then you can go back into it with a wee bit more kind of mental clarity. Because if you try and do, let's say you try and do one thing and then you've not actually quite got that thing finished, but you start another thing, and it all just starts to kind of roll into one, and then you've started 4, 5, 6 different tasks all at once. You don't know whether you're coming or going. You're never going to get on top of it. Just taking that wee step back for 10, 15 minutes is enough to sort your shit out. Then you can prioritize what's needing done first, second, third, fourth, blah, blah, blah.
I agree completely. It's completely unrelated, but still semi-related. But like, I found myself down a hole recently of like, paedophile hunters.
Yes.
Mate, I just started it. They came up. There was one clip that's come up now. That way you watch something and it's just more and more clips come up. Like, it's great crack. There was a guy that got caught and he's like, "Oh, I've got plans today. This can't happen today." It's like, what's your
But sound, mate. Sound. I've got a story about paedophile hunters quickly.
go
This
on?
is this is one for the podcast. This is Wait till you hear this. You're all gonna go, no fucking way. I got sent a video of the paedophile hunters on Facebook. Obviously, they go live on Facebook and whatever, and people start sharing their videos. And guess whose door they were at?
I was a school teacher.
My mum's ex-fiance.
Oh fuck, Jesus.
That prick lived in our house, and he got caught messaging. I think it was either a 12 or a 14-year-old girl. Know that one's better than the other, but between 12 and 14 years old, who he thought was 12 and 14 years old, and it was actually a stinger. And they fucking went to
What
his door.
what age were you when he was in your life?
Oh, mid-20s.
Ah, too old for him.
I was far too old for him.
I was about to ask some questions there, mate. I was like, did you get touched? I mean, the second part to that, if you didn't get touched, are you raging? Like, do you feel like one of the ugly kids?
Jeez. No, that was mid-20s. I think they were engaged they were together for about 5 years. Engaged for quite a bit of time. I can't remember how long exactly they were together for, but I think my mum and him separated when we were lived in Canada.
Right.
And then I was still in Canada when he got caught. I was like, oh fuck, man.
Some good TV, that is.
It's getting right close to home, innit? These fucking scumbags.
I was raging. One of our school teachers got caught. It wasn't on the TV or anything like that, but it just was like in the paper that he got caught. And I genuinely had a wee bit of feel. I was like, I don't know if I'm raging. Was I one of the ugly kids then? Like, I don't know how to feel. On a way, I'm relieved, but in a way, I'm like, I was in your class. Did I not make the right sense? Like,
Jesus Christ, Kyle.
um,
Right. We have oh, by the way, just before we finally speak about something fitness related, we are coming up to a 1 year anniversary, by the way. Did you know that?
you want to light a candle? Let's do it.
No, we've still got a couple of weeks yet. Still got a couple of weeks yet. It's nearly fit with us first birthday. Now, I know we're now on episode 52. Obviously, there's 52 weeks in a year. We have missed a few weeks. Most recently last week. Apologies for that. But we're coming up for a year, mate. I don't know if we got anything exciting planned the year. Actually, I think the year's episode might be two after this. So 45. Episode 45 might be the year.
Episode 45 might be the year. Make it make
Aye.
sense. Let's see this for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 50, 51, 52. Oh, yeah, no, I was going to say, even if we did 52 episodes, it's only mid-November. I was like, it'd be nice if it landed on Christmas. We could do 50.
Oh,
Do we have any plans? Well, you've now just dropped that on us, albeit I kind of knew it was coming up. I didn't realise it was that quick. But like,
2 weeks, man.
so we will try and make something extra special of it. But for now, let's just leave that with us.
Let's leave that with us. Right, I've got my first fitness related question for you, and it's something that you uploaded a reel about the other day.
Go on.
Static stretching.
Uh,
Right. Obviously, there's a myth that you need to static stretch before you exercise to prevent injury.
Yep.
However, your reel very much went against that.
Yep.
Do you want to explain why?
Yeah, so I think it's like back in the day, even look at the way that like footballers or athletes used to train. It was like static stretching before matches, static stretching before training. It was thought that that was a way to like reduce injury and keep yourself fit. But it has been proven since it actually does the opposite. Like your muscles, they're meant to be short and tight, and the reason they're meant to be short and tight is because they store energy. If you think about like, yeah, like they're like sponges, they hold energy. When you like essentially stretch them out, you're squeezing that sponge to get rid of all that. So with that, like ideally during a resistance, and again, this is based on resistance training. If you are going to the gym to do resistance training or running or anything like that, like the worst thing you can do before it is stretch out. And whilst it might feel good, it's not actually going to benefit you. And that's why in my reel I made an analogy between masturbating before sex and stretching. Because realistically, as much as something might feel good, it's going to lose potency for the things that matter. And that would be my 2 cents on it in a very short nutshell. That makes sense?
I've had to try and think of a different analogy to use when I'm trying to explain it for people in the gym, because saying to somebody face to face, it's like masturbating before you have sex, who you've just met, isn't ideal. So the analogy I used is it's like wiping your bum before you go for a jobby.
That's true as well, mate.
Might not feel good, but it doesn't make sense. So would you say that now there's conflicting advice on this as well? Would you say static stretching after resistance training is a necessity?
Not necessity, no. Research says at best, it can like it helps increase range of motion for a
Mhm.
maximum of 45 minutes. But then your muscles automatically go back to the range that they're comfortable in. Like just because you can go to a range of motion doesn't mean you're strong in that range of motion. Is actually that's another reason why people get injured, because you can show your body, oh look, we can go to an extended range of motion, but are you strong in that position? Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah,
So like at best, look, you've got an extended range of motion for 45 minutes and it feels better. At worst, it still can show that it increases injury. What I would say is like people get bogged down about stretching and think about stretching as in like you sitting down and touching your toes. Like stretching realistically, if you do a remaining deadlift, you're essentially just doing a loaded stretch. Like
yeah.
you're going through a hamstring stretch with a barbell in your hand. And ultimately you're strengthening that position. So you are lengthening and strengthening with that. And the same with like an elevated split squat, you're lengthening and strengthening quadriceps and hips. Like all of these, providing the best way of actually increasing range of motion is to do it through a loaded part. But if you can't get into that position in the first place, that's where dynamic stretching, so actually looking at moving through that range first without any resistance to make sure you can be helpful. Does that make sense?
Aye. Oh, 100%, absolutely. Um, so essentially you when you're doing your exercises, that if you're doing them correctly,
Yeah.
if you're not doing a wee half rep knee bend,
Yeah.
you are a wee half repper, you are essentially stretching your muscles through that comfortable range of motion with load. So you're going to get stronger. The more and more you do it. Would you say static stretching after resistance training can be detrimental to your muscle? Or say you're trying to build muscle, say you're aiming for hypertrophy, would you say it can be detrimental to it, or do you want your muscles to stay nice and tight?
I don't really think like at that point. From what I've read or looked at, I don't really think it matters. I just think it's more of a personal preference. If you
Yeah,
want
yeah,
to
yeah.
stretch after it, then absolutely go for it. But I don't think there's any research to say, or certainly nothing like in my experience that actually is beneficial to do. Like if you want to, if you're the type of person that likes to do a wee stretch after your workouts, go for it. Like if anything, there's more blood flow in them, which means that they will be more pliable to get
Yeah.
extended range of motion. From a breathing standpoint, like in terms of like being able to like relax yourself, central nervous system, it can help. It can technically increase blood flow, which I mean, if you really want to get nitpicky about it, could help recovery. But I don't really, it's not something I endorse. If you want to do it, then fucking go for it. But
Aye. And one thing it's not going to stop is muscle soreness.
yeah, I
It's
agree there.
definitely not going to stop that. So if you're thinking stretching after a workout is going to decrease the pain you're feeling the next day, nope.
Here's a question that, right, okay, it's technically a sub branch, it's not myth or whatever we're doing at the moment, just fucking chatting. But muscle soreness, what's your opinion on it? Because a lot of people are like, oh, I want to feel sore in the gym, or even, do you know what? I'll admit it as well. Like I'm so used to training, I rarely get sore. But like,
Yeah,
even when I get a wee bit of soreness, I'm like, oh, that's
yeah.
actually yeah. But it means okay. No, actually, you tell me what it means. Go ahead.
So muscle soreness basically means your muscles are inflamed. You've created loads and loads of tiny wee micro tears in your muscle fibers, and that you're feeling it. Like think about it when you tear a muscle, like you feel it. You're going to feel these wee micro cells. Nothing to be alarmed about. Do you want to be feeling it after every single workout? Do you want to be aiming for muscle soreness after every single workout? Probably not. Um, I would say it's good to have it sometimes. It's not good to have it all the time, but it's not good to never have it. Does that make sense?
Yep. I would add to that whilst it is a byproduct of your muscles going either to a range has never gone to before,
Hmm.
or you've progressed things to a point where your body's not used to, because it's like your nervous system's response to wanting to protect itself. being sore all the time isn't actually an indicator of progress.
Yeah.
Ideally, like if you went to go and play like 5-a-sides and you haven't played in fucking ages, you're going to feel like you've been hit by a car for the first week or two, and then your body will get used to it. But like, just because you're sore the first week or two doesn't mean it's having more of a response. It's just your body actually saying, don't do that to me again on, like, if you play on Tuesday night, don't do it to me again on Thursday night, Gary, because we can't fucking handle it. Like, it's just
Aye.
give me a break to recover. So if anything, less muscle soreness actually usually means that you're recovering quicker, or you are adapting. Your rate of recovery is a little bit better. You're more
Aye.
adapted to it.
The best way to track your progress is numbers. Look at
Yeah.
your numbers, progressively overload your lifts. That's the best way to track progress, not by how sore you are. Let's be honest, like years and years ago when I bought the Insanity DVDs, is it Sean T jumping about my living room?
Ah,
A fucking agony for days. Did I do a good hypertrophy muscle building workout? Did I fuck? I just done lots of cardio, lots of jumping, lots of quick movements. If you went and done 100 squats in a row right now, body weight squats, full range of motion, you might be sore tomorrow. If you've done 100 burpees, 100 jumping jacks, 100 high knees, you might be a wee bit sore, a wee bit tender. That doesn't necessarily mean you've done a good workout.
yeah, yeah.
And so yeah, muscle soreness. Not the best indicator to track your progress. Like I said, sometimes you want it. It's not good to never have it, but it's not good to always have it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to ask you one at this point. So,
Yeah.
longer workouts equal better results.
No, absolutely not. Um, everybody has everybody has the same 24 hours in a day, but we only have, everybody's got different lifestyles. If you've only got half an hour to train, if you've only got 45 minutes to train, if you've got an hour to train, you can still get the same progress as long as you are sensible and clever about how you train. Um, I would even go as far as saying, let's say you're doing a leg session. Let's say you're training lower and you're in the gym for about an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes. That lasts what, half an hour? You're going to be fucked. That is going to be wasted reps, wasted energy. Are you really getting more out of the workout just by doing that extra half an hour, 45 minutes? Probably not. No, if you've trained your first maybe two, three, four exercises the way that you should be to see progress. The other, whatever, how many exercises you do, two exercises, it's just going to be wasted if by that point you're absolutely gassed. Do you agree that it doesn't yield better results, or are you disagreeing?
Uh, so I would say like the length of your workout doesn't really matter. So to give context on that, like it would be fair to say that there needs to be certain rules. Like you need a certain amount of volume in terms of your training sessions. What that means is the amount of exercises that you do. So I can't, if you were, again, Guy, let's say that you were starting afresh in the gym on Monday, I
Mhm.
can't promise you that you can go to the gym and do one set of bicep curls and get great results, because that's just not going to be true. You are going to have to do a certain amount of
Mhm.
exercise. Now, with that, there's a range. So there are certain rules on that. But if we looked at keeping it at the lower range, yeah, we would probably need to make sure that intensity for each session is slightly higher, and we can make sure that we're maximizing strength and progression throughout that. If we're on the higher side of the volume, then look, the intensity isn't as important, particularly to start off with, but again, because we're relying on volume. But for example, when I was doing powerlifting, my sessions at times would last an hour and 45, 2 hours, but I was probably getting the least amount of results from a body compositional point of view. And I would even argue I was wasted because my energy, I couldn't keep it consistent. A lot of the time, I was just fucking loading and unloading plates. I was sitting about for 3 to 5 minutes rest between sessions. And genuinely, like, I don't know if what anybody says, but like, see, having 5 minutes rest between sets is honestly the most awful thing, because
Mhm.
in your head, you're ready to go again after about 90 seconds.
Yep.
Realistically, you're waiting on your nervous system, your body
Yep.
to recover. And it's like, there's nothing worse than trying to gear yourself up to lifting like 2 reps of something. It was honestly like honking. So I would say on that, no, it doesn't really matter. I would get away from like you'll look at your local gym. You'll see people for doing everything from being a tornado, trying to rattle through as many exercises as they can, and actually doing none of them really well. They would argue that I'm in and out in half an hour and get like, and I do my bit, and I'm like, yeah, but you've essentially done a whole lot of fuck all. But then the opposite end of that spectrum, you get people who literally are the talkers. I watched two guys in the gym yesterday, and to be fair, it might be their social outlet. I'm not here to say it is or it's not, but like they may as well have been sitting in a coffee shop because the two of them
Aye.
were just chatting for. I don't exaggerate when I say this. It was like 25 minutes of them just actually having a chat with doing very little. And I'm like, that's fine. But realistically, if they are the type of people who get asked, oh, I go to the gym for 2 hours a day, their mates be like, oh, fuck, Ronnie goes to the gym for 2 hours each morning. And I'm like, yeah, but Ronnie's doing the same as what he could have been doing in a fucking coffee shop. Like,
Aye. So I think just to summarize, like, um, you need to be specific about what you want from the gym and be clever and sensible with your training,
yeah,
your exercise choices, your rest times and stuff like that as well. So, yeah, longer in the gym doesn't always yield better results. Is
yeah.
basically what I was trying to say. There was something that I was going to bring up as well. Oh, should we avoid processed foods?
Oh, controversial. I actually just done a post on this.
Would you?
I've not posted it yet, but the answer is. Oh, I actually, do you know what? It's hard to give a solid answer. We're just going to give you context. Yes and no. So the answer is like our calories the same. So if you got like 100 calories worth of watermelon versus 100 calories worth of a Mars bar, or even a banana versus a Mars bar, which is quite commonly like it's the same calories or like whatever. The answer would be is yes, from a calorie standpoint, they're exactly the same, but from a energy point of view and from a decision making point of view, that's where the effects become more apparent. So, processed foods, the biggest issue with it is it doesn't really digest well. It's going to affect your energy, and realistically, it's going to affect your digestion. But with that said, if 80% of your nutrition comes from good, whole, clean sources with micronutrients in it, 20% can be party time, no issue with that. I think there will be times
Yeah,
always that you can have the Mars bar over the banana. But the opposite would stand true in the sense of, like, if you're just eating Domino's pizza all the time, like, realistically, you might be able to lose weight with it, it's been proven, but you're going to feel like shit, would be my answer.
100%. Thing is, as well, we need to be clear on the word processed as well, because when people think processed foods, they think of things like chocolate or oven dinners or microwave dinners or some pizza. Some processed foods are extremely healthy and shouldn't be avoided. Things like frozen fruit, because that has been picked and frozen and bagged, that is deemed processed.
Tell me
So,
something that's not been processed. Like,
exactly. I know, 100%. You need to avoid processed food, but you're having a protein shake.
my watermelon comes from Kenya. Like, I've never seen a watermelon tree in,
100%.
in Ireland, not with that
A
well.
100%. So it's pick your poison. No, but when people say processed foods, I think they tend to think that it's the things that I listed a wee second ago. But should all processed food be avoided? Absolutely not, because you do want to get that balance. You do want to make things exciting. You still want to allow yourself a Mars bar if that's your chocolate of choice. But yeah, things like frozen fruit, Greek yogurt, that's been processed to fuck. Protein powder, like super processed. I would say when we're talking about the processed foods that you kind of want to maybe avoid or have a wee bit less, it's like the microwave dinners, the oven dinners, the stuff that you can just kind of heat up quickly, the stuff that's already been prepped and cooked. You just need to reheat it, all that sort of stuff.
I would deem processed foods more of a something that hasn't either been recently alive or grown from something that would
Yeah.
be like that would be my take on it. If it's not something that you can find not in a tree in Ireland, because realistically I'm still yet to find a watermelon tree in Ireland. But, I think with that it's important to these foods can be helpful as well. I'm
Yeah.
like as Gary was saying, like you can like I've had my fair share of like I don't know what it's called over in Scotland or whatever, but like the kind of fit food meals, the pro perform,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, like you heat it up, it's got macros on it. They're doable, they're decent. I think for a short period of time, actually during particularly a fat loss phase, like let's take Pepsi Max and stuff. Like let's be fair, I've never really bought too much into the sweeteners and all that are really bad for you, anything like that. Like the doses they're in are so small. They're certainly not fucking good for you. But with that, I'd say for a short period of time, the worst thing that you have if you look at your body composition a lot of the time is the amount of fucking weight most people are carrying. That's
Yeah,
the biggest
100%.
danger to your health. So see for the next kind of fucking 3 months, yeah, 100%. Just have some of the sweeter. If it's processed stuff that's lower in calories, yeah, 100%. But let's just make sure you're getting some stuff in your body that actually makes you feel energetic and doesn't feel like warmed up shite as well.
I absolutely. We had a McDonald's last night, and I'm feeling hungover today because it.
Do you know what's funny? It does that to me. I'd be the same. I'd have like we have Domino's on a Thursday, and whilst I do it from a calorie standpoint because it's easy to track, I'm like there are Friday mornings I wake up and I'm like, oof, I
Yeah.
feel awful.
Yep.
I had a few of the non-alcoholic beers a few weeks ago, or no, it was last week, and I genuinely feel cheated the next day because I woke up feeling hungover, and I'm like, I had to go back and look at it and went, that says it's got 0.2% alcohol in it.
Brilliant.
I felt like I had 20% alcohol. I genuinely
Yeah,
woke up and I was like,
fucking lightweight bastard, you.
it took me a minute. I was like, I had the cheek to say it was isotonic. It's isotonic. Oh, wait, that's a myth. Not
That's
alcoholic,
a
but a myth.
massive myth, 100%. Right, mate, do you want to wrap this up? I know you're in a bit of a rush to get off.
Yeah, I've actually got content to record and it's been booked in for a call.
Yes.
So I'll be talking about it. So the more myths, I'm not going to steal Gary's ideas and start putting myth busts on my Instagram. Not yet. I'm first engagement right enough, so I might be soon. But that'll be that. Gary, where can they find you?
On Instagram at gmac_health and fitness. Kyle, where can they find you?
Kyle_biofitness1. Said it with confidence today.
Said it with confidence. You are absolutely sure about that this time. Just before we go as well, I forgot to do this the last couple of episodes, but massive thank you to Dave Williamson and Toby Llewellyn for making us the intro and outro music. Because we had guests on the last 2 weeks, sorry, I was completely distracted. So apologies, Dave and Toby. Thank you again for the class tunes. Everybody, thank you for listening.
I actually had that. I woke up in the middle of the night the other night, genuinely out of nowhere. I was like, fuck, we've not actually said thanks to David Toby.
I had to message him and I was like, mate, I am so sorry. We've been so distracted by the guests, but he's cool about it.
Just not in the rhythm of it. He'll probably be invoicing us for 2 unpaid tunes. Anyway, look, troops, thanks for listening. Catch you later. Bye.
See you later. Bye.